Your weed habit might be telling you something about your brain. Not that you're lazy, not that you're weak, and definitely not that you're broken. But it may reveal what your brain has learned to use cannabis for. Maybe weed helps you relax. Maybe it helps you sleep. Maybe it makes anxiety quieter. But here's the uncomfortable part. The same reason weed feels helpful can sometimes be the reason your brain starts relying on it. I'm Dr. Sambo, a consultant psychiatrist, and today we're going to look at 4 things your weed habit may reveal about your brain and what that means if you want to quit. When THC enters the brain, it interacts with the endocannabinoid system. This system helps regulate things like mood, memory, appetite, stress, and sleep. THC can temporarily change how certain experiences feel. Anxiety may seem quieter, boredom may feel less uncomfortable, your thoughts may feel different. And for some people, that feels like relief. But your brain is constantly learning from repetition. If cannabis repeatedly becomes your fastest route to feeling better, your brain can start connecting discomfort with cannabis. Stress appears, the urge appears. You use, the discomfort temporarily changes, and the cycle repeats. That's a learning loop. It doesn't mean you lack discipline. It means your brain may have learned a reliable shortcut to relief. But here's the problem. A shortcut can become a problem when your brain starts depending on it. The second thing your cannabis habit may reveal is tolerance. Tolerance means the same amount may no longer produce the same effect. You might notice that you're using more than you used to, or you're using more frequently, or you feel like you need stronger cannabis to get the effect you once got from less. Why does this happen? Because the brain adapts to repeated exposure. It tries to maintain balance. So the same amount of THC may eventually feel less noticeable. This doesn't automatically mean your brain is permanently damaged. It means your brain has adapted to a repeated signal. And the important part is, the brain can adapt again. Now, ask yourself one honest question. What usually happens just before you use? Is it anxiety, frustration, loneliness, restlessness, boredom? Or maybe it's simply, I don't want to think about this right now. Sometimes cannabis isn't being used mainly for pleasure. For some people, it becomes a way of escaping an uncomfortable internal experience. And here's where the cycle can become powerful. You feel uncomfortable, you use cannabis, you experience temporary relief, but you don't get the opportunity to learn, I can experience this feeling without escaping it. That's why recovery isn't only about removing cannabis, it's also about learning new ways to handle what cannabis was helping you avoid. Dependence is different from simply enjoying cannabis. A more concerning pattern is when you repeatedly use more than you intended, try to cut down, but struggle to do it, spend a lot of time thinking about or obtaining cannabis, continue using despite problems at work, school, relationships, or health, or lose interest in activities you once valued. One of the most important questions isn't simply how often do you use, it's how much control do you have over your use. And if you stop after regular use, you may experience symptoms such as irritability, anxiety, sleep problems, reduced appetite, vivid dreams, or cravings. These symptoms can be uncomfortable, but they aren't a moral failure. They can be signs that your brain and body are adjusting to the absence of THC. If you're learning something useful, subscribe. Here we talk about addiction without shame, without scare tactics, and without pretending recovery is simple. Now let's talk about what actually helps. Quitting cannabis isn't simply about removing THC from your body. It's also about helping your brain develop other ways to regulate itself. Start by asking, what function does weed serve for me? Does it help you sleep, relax, socialize, deal with stress, escape difficult thoughts? Then replace that function deliberately. If cannabis helps you relax, build other ways to decompress. If it has become part of your sleep routine, create a consistent nighttime routine. If you use it when you're stressed, learn strategies that help you manage stress without automatically reaching for cannabis. If loneliness triggers your use, build more connection into your life. The goal isn't to become someone who never experiences an urge. The goal is to become someone who can experience the urge and still choose not to smoke. So, what does your weed habit say about your brain? Maybe your brain has learned cannabis as a fast route to relief. Maybe tolerance has developed. Maybe cannabis has become your main way of dealing with difficult emotions. Or maybe you're starting to lose control over your use. But none of that means you're broken. Your brain learned a pattern. And with time, support, and practice, your brain can learn a different one. If cannabis is affecting your relationships, work, health, or ability to control your use, consider talking to a qualified healthcare professional. You don't have to figure it out alone. If this video helped you understand your relationship with cannabis a little better, subscribe to Dopamine Dial. I break down addiction, mental health, and brain science without judgment, and in a way you can actually understand. This is the Dopamine Dial. Turn your brain, master your mind.